What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another video, and today we are continuing with the second episode of Puzzle Speedrun, where we are trying to get from 1500 to 2500 in our puzzle rating. Last time we already got to 1600, and today we will continue our journey. So let's look at the first puzzle. We have what seems to be material equality here on the board. We are 1 pawn down, but the rest is equal, and our king here is very much in trouble, being cut off by this rook on the second rank, and also being threatened to be checkmated by the rook on a3. If it moves one down to a1, we will simply be lost. But also, black's king seems to be in quite a bit of danger. We have the knight protecting this square as well. The rook, well, also protecting this square, but cutting off the whole g file for the king. So if we could magically put our rook to the g8 square, we would simply be won. And so we might look at the situation in a way of thinking about, can we create a situation where we bring our rook to this square without losing a tempo. So if we make a move with tempo, we don't really lose a tempo. So let's try out this check on f6. We check the king, they have to take us, that's the only legal move. And now our rook is open to move to the g8 square, and we will simply have checkmated our opponent. Great, so 19 points for the first puzzle. So let's move on to the second one, and here we have a situation where there are two hanging queens. Actually, our queen is attacked, but we are also attacking our opponent's queen. So in a situation like this, you might always consider sacrificing your own queen, and only after that taking your opponent's queen. But as far as I can tell, there's no useful sacrifice here, because of course if we take white's bishop, well, they will recapture with their own queen, at the same time moving out of danger of our bishop, out of sight of our bishop. So we might consider taking their queen, and by the way also attacking their rook. So let's say they capture ours with check. We have to take back. We can take back with the rook, at the same time attacking their bishop on the g6 square, and now they have a hanging bishop, and our bishop will be here where the queen is now, and it will also be hanging. So white will have to decide if they want to capture our bishop or save their own. So there is no way for white to do both, so we will simply be up a piece. So it's very important to capture here with the rook and not with the bishop, to be now able to pick up the bishop, since they decided to take ours. Alright, plus 16 points, and we have the next puzzle here already. So we can see we have a potential check here on the g file. If we move this pawn away to the h4 square, we will be checking the king of black. What else can we notice in this position? Of course, our own king is in quite a bit of danger, probably. But since it is our move, we will be able to create the attack first. So let's see what happens after we capture here on the g4, on the h4 square. So it will be check, and well, the only reasonable move by black, I think, is to move the king to h8, since sacrificing the queen will be lost for black. So we capture, they move to h8, and what is happening in that position then? We could think of a move like rook to g5, attacking the queen, and there will be only one square where the queen can go, and it will be the h6 square. So I'm gonna draw it again. We take here, they move here, we attack the queen, and the queen moves to h6, which is in direct line of sight of our own queen. So we will have a discovery attack on their queen. So we can then move our rook from the g5 square to g8, sacrificing it. And after they capture us, we will be capturing their queen on the h6 square. So this looks very promising, and we're gonna go for this line. Yeah, they decide to sacrifice their queen immediately, which is of course also an option. It doesn't really make a big difference. They lose their queen anyway. So we got 15 points for this puzzle. So let's see what's happening in this one. Okay, I can notice tension going on between our rook, or at least potential tension between our rook and the queen. On e7, we are also attacking this knight and this knight, so two hanging knights. And the material count is that we are down one minor piece at the moment. So let's say we simply capture this knight here. We are also at the same time, of course, attacking black's queen, and they cannot take the pawn since it is protected by our rook. So the queen will have to move. It will have to move probably to d8, and after that we will be able to pick up the knight on c4. So yeah, as far as I can tell, there is no way to stop us from winning material. No way for black, of course. Yeah, so let's simply capture here. Yeah, and they actually decide to sacrifice the queen. We will of course pick it up with our rook and not with our queen. And yeah, be up a queen. Very nice. Let's go on to the next puzzle. So it's kind of an end game here. We have both two minor pieces and a rook, and we have 5 pawns, whereas our opponent has 6 pawns, but the pawn structure is quite a bit damaged. So let's see how we can work with that. We have here an attack on this knight, and this knight is only protected by the rook. So if we can find a way to get rid of this rook right here, it will not, of course, be defending the knight anymore, and we will simply be able to pick it up. And as far as I can tell, jumping our own knight to g8 will achieve exactly that. The rook will have to move, and we will win the knight. And there's also no, and that's quite important to notice, there's no square this knight can jump to and give, for example, a check. Because if that would be possible, of course, white could use an in-between move to jump away with their horse and check us if our king was on a different square. And only after that could move the rook away. But in this case, it's not possible. And of course, also after we pick up the knight here, we will still be protecting our own knight. That's quite important to realize as well. So let's do one last puzzle for this episode. We have 2 rooks each. We have a knight. Our opponent has a bishop, and everyone has 1 queen. So the pawn situation is also equal, and our queen is getting attacked by the rook, and we are attacking their rook as well. And of course, the king is on h8, so this rook is actually pinned to our rook, and that in turn means, of course, that this rook here is actually undefended. If we take it, of course, black cannot take back because we would take their king. So we might just pick up the rook, and of course they can take ours, but ours, of course, is protected. And yeah, that was puzzle number 6 for this episode. I hope you enjoyed those puzzles, and we got actually to a rating of 1,703 points. So we gained another 100 points in rating in this episode. And let's see how fast we are going to continue. And I hope you enjoyed the video. And as always, thanks for watching.